We often grow up watching the women in our lives do it all. Our mothers, our grandmothers, holding the world together with both hands and somehow never asking for help. And somewhere along the way, we quietly inherit that script. The one that says, be the superwoman, handle everything, and yet keep going. But what if we chose a different story? Today's guest did exactly that. We have Vaishnavi Sarma, a chartered accountant who walked away from the world of numbers and logic, a career which involves a lot of hard work to achieve that one title of being a chartered accountant. Yet she did that to create something far more personal. Together with her husband Mayur, she co founded Orange Espresso, a wellness based stationery brand built on one powerful belief that you can journal your way to healing. Vaishnavi is a certified journal therapist and a wellness facilitator. And everything she offers the world, she has first lived herself. She has used the simple, quiet act of putting pen to paper to find her way through some of life's most overwhelming chapters. And today, she's on a mission to help others do the same. Her story is one of resilience, of breaking a generational cycle, and of choosing to be human over being perfect. So join me in welcoming Vaishnavi to this episode of SHRISHTI, and we are very glad to have her today. Help others do the same. So, welcome, Vaishnavi. Thank you so much for coming on this platform and agreeing to share your journey with us.
Thank you so much, Nivedita, for having me here. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So, let's begin with your how it started. You come from a background which is very structured, very logical, and then just help us understand what was that phase of your life like.
So, as you know, I was in the chartered accountancy field, and it is something which is very famous world over. That
Right.
it's very
Right.
difficult to pass the exam. So, basically,
Yes.
when you're in that giving your exams, it is basically you and your books. Like
Yes.
even if you read all the books, there's no guarantee that you'll come out of it. So you're
Absolutely.
just banking your luck and giving the exams every now and then. There is
Right.
no scope for creativity using your mind anywhere. It is just study, study, study kind of.
Right. Right.
So that was how it used to be. I was in BCom and I chose to do CA on my own. And the main reason I think was because I didn't want to go into corporate. So for
Mhm.
me, the thing is, if I did MBA, then the only option would be a corporate job, which I didn't want. So it was like CA is something where you can set up your own practice and be your own boss. So that
Yes.
was the main thing. I wanted the flexibility.
Okay.
So that
Right.
is why it was CA for me.
Right. So now, like, we will gradually come to what you're doing now, but what you're doing now is totally, like, it involves total creativity, all out of the box, like internal voice, but out of the box. So, in that phase, were there moments where you felt that your life was sorted externally, but internally there was some misalignment?
Yes, definitely. Because when you tell someone you're doing a CA course or something like that, it's like
Mm.
they go gaga. They are like, yeah, it's like
Absolutely.
you're absolutely sorted. Once you pass, it is like you're on top of the world, kind of. But
Right.
somewhere I knew from inside that from when I was a child, I had this lot of inclination towards paintings. Like I've never had a formal training as such, but I always used to love painting, coloring, sketching, and stuff. So for me, that was nowhere related to CA. And, somewhere inside when I was doing CA, I always wanted to, paint, color, do something. So there have been times when simultaneously while pursuing CA, I've also painted, like, in breaks and stuff. Because
Right.
one thing I really enjoyed from childhood was the painting, sketching kind of things. So I always felt that, yes, CA is there. I have to finish it somehow. I have to clear it and get that degree. But then, yes, I want to set up my own practice also. But then something more to it should always be there, kind of.
Great, great. So, what were the first signs when you felt that, I need to take that pause and reflect on the inner calling which was always there?
So I think that took a really long time because I cleared my CA in 2012,
Okay.
and we started our own venture in like 2024. So it
Okay.
was like a good 12
Decade
years
long.
time before we even thought about it. So initially I was into practice, but so in between there are times when you don't like what you're doing, like too much of finance, too much of this
Right.
thing gives you that like something creative is required in this field,
Mm.
kind of. And then I was born and brought up in Mysore. After marriage I moved to Mumbai in 2014. So I had my own practice, but that transformation also was, I was moving cities. Mysore is a very calm and quiet city, while
Right,
Mumbai is
right.
like the most
Totally
happening
different.
city. Yeah, totally
Right.
different. So for me, it was that was a major change, but there was no difficulty in adjusting. I was able to get into the Mumbai vibes very soon. But again, that somewhere, though I was an examiner with the CA Institute for quite some time
Mhm.
for direct taxes, but then still I was doing it, but somewhere it was like not with full heart, like
Right.
something more was always there in my head, that something more, something above this. And that was the time when I started writing. So I always used to love writing, and that is when I started my blog sometime in 2012, where I used to just note down the mundane things that would happen, maybe visit to the electricity board, where what are the challenges you face, kind of.
Right, right.
And I used to put up on my blog. So in, I think, around 2015-16, I took up writing little seriously, where I started writing stories. And I
Mm-hmm.
used to find for small contests where I can bring in my own creativity and write stories. So that is how I started writing, and I self published a couple of books.
Oh, great.
So when I did that, it was like, yeah, there is something much more than CA, and maybe
Mhm.
at some point I should, but still there was no, that fear is always there.
Correct,
Why would
correct.
anyone accept me? I don't have any training. I am not qualified for it. So why would anyone? There are so many people out there who are qualified. So why would it
Mhm.
be me, kind of?
Right. So, welcome. But
So
so I was coming to that actually. When you started exploring this and when you thought that there's something more than what you're doing already. So what kind of fears, like you said that you had this thing that people may not accept you or
yeah.
the credentials part. What were the other, like, what was the internal dialogue like? More to the acceptance, more to the, uh, that courage to get into something which is your calling, which has been your calling. Because, like you said, even while preparing CA, where I know that people are like totally into the dark rooms with books, but still you found that space to nurture your creativity. So, what other doubts and fears were there in your mind when you thought you should come here?
So, to be frank, see, we are South Indians, where, in our head from the time we are born, like it's always told that studies, that's it, it's
Right.
like engineer, doctor, or, MBA, CA, whatever it is, and
Correct.
nothing beyond this. So,
Correct.
it's always in my, like, when you grow up, where, you don't see any other field around you, and it is just
Mhm.
this. So, it is like, you're more or less going to focus only on that. And you feel right that anything outside of this portfolio is like something which is not acceptable.
Not acceptable. Correct.
And one thing is, I was a super people pleaser. So for me, it is like, going out of that boundary which is drawn was like really difficult. Like, how can I just leave this and go to something else which has no credentials for me? Like, I had no training. So it's like, first thing is, why would anyone accept me? Second thing is, I don't know how to convince my family. Like, my
Mm-hmm.
husband is very supportive. Like, he also. So I'll come to it later, like how we began and stuff. But still, it was like, will my extended family accept it? Will my parents accept it? That I want to leave this CA thing altogether and do something
Right.
which I really have no idea about, which I will learn as I go ahead, kind of. So that was the major fear.
So, what I'm seeing is like you had this thing totally into a very structured, logical profession. Plus, you come from a background, like you said, that, education is the only thing which is of utmost importance. So, definitely that transitioning must have not been easy, both internally and externally. So, what shifted in your life or in your thoughts that that helped you accelerate in this direction?
So this was in the year 2024. So what happened? See, so now what I remember now. So before, at least, we have this thing of, you have your childhood, you have your adulthood, then, post
Right.
marriage, your career, and all
Right.
of these things. But after COVID has hit, what I remember through and through is life before COVID and life after COVID. That's the only distinction I have, because, that was one of the phases. So I
Mm.
delivered my son exactly at the start of the whole COVID. So it
Okay.
was like I went to the hospital when everything was fine and came out when there was a lockdown. So, life changed 360 degrees, which was not what we
Mhm.
were prepared for when, I
Absolutely.
conceived. So it was like a total shift.
Mm.
And in the year 2021, we lost my mother in law to COVID, second wave. And in 2023, we lost my father in law. And in 2024, I also lost my uncle, my father's younger brother. So, after seeing so many things, and in 2024, so we were in Mumbai and we shifted to Pune for my husband's job. So in 2024, he was posted back in a job in Mumbai again. So what
Mm.
happened was, in 3 days a week he was in Mumbai, and 3 days he was in Pune. So it started, affecting him, me, and our a small child. He used to wake up in the night and he used to cry, saying, "I don't want Papa to go to Mumbai. I want him to be here." So that is when one day, my husband and I sat and we were just discussing that, is it worth it? Like, this is the time when, the kids are definitely dependent
Absolutely.
on you. They want to spend
Right.
time with you, and
Right.
time flies really fast. And within no time they'll grow up and they'll not need you as much as they need you now. So it's
Right.
like, is it worth it that, my husband also was waking up like at 3 a.m. on a Monday, traveling 4 hours to Mumbai, and Wednesdays coming back at 12. So was it worth it? Then we decided that, okay, so my husband is also a CA and he's an MBA from ISB. So that is when we decided in some time in mid July 2024 that he will also quit his corporate job and I will also
Mm.
quit my practice, and both of us together will start something. So what do we start was something, which was still going on. Like, what do we start?
Mm.
How do we start? Like, we both didn't have anything else other than, the experience we had in our respective fields.
Right.
No other
Right.
training, no other, qualification as such. But we decided that if not now, then when. So the responsibilities for us now was restricted to our kids, school.
Mm.
He's not
Correct.
even that big where, we have a lot of things to think about. As he grows older, it might get difficult. So like, what is the worst thing that could happen? We might not succeed, so we can still later get back into our respective fields if required, but let us
Right.
just try. So
Mhm.
what hit us was, the only thing I knew was to, draw and paint and sketch, which I had nurtured as a hobby all along. So it was like, let us just start something. And for us, the main thing was, after seeing so many deaths in the family, it was like somewhere we wanted the focus to shift to mental wellness. And world
Mhm.
also around us after COVID was so bad that everyone was going through something or the other. And that
Absolutely.
entire phase where a lot of people have lost their families, and
Yeah.
it's very traumatic, getting back to, trying to understand, gather yourself, and see
Mm.
what happened. So it was like, let us start, because mental wellness is the need of the hour at
Absolutely.
present, with the way
Yes.
world is, moving so fast today. So we were like, okay, chalo, let's start something related to that. We'll start a wellness based stationery brand where we give tools to people so that they can, just ditch the mobile, use more of books, and, get their life in control. Lot
Right.
of things in life we don't have control over. Like,
Yes.
most of the things we don't have. There are small things which we can still control, like, our personal growth, our
That-
outlook of life and stuff. So we're like, let's just slowly start for this.
that's a beautiful thing actually, because like you rightly said, this pre and post COVID phase, it has been very different. Like the life has changed a lot. And I really appreciate how you felt that calling, how you realize how important it is to first, be with value people, I would say. We are running behind career, we are running behind so many things that is
Correct. Yeah.
also needed. But again, valuing people, being around people is so much. I think that is one of the biggest takeaways from the COVID phase, that, you should value
Yeah.
whoever you have around you.
Definitely, definitely. We take things for granted, and when certain
Yes,
things happen, we do realize that that something was definitely needed for everyone to get more
yes.
grounded to realize what is important.
Absolutely, absolutely agree. And this your, the kind of evolution that you had in your life is really commendable, because, especially at that stage when the child is young, you are having such a life, 3 days here, 3 days there. It involves a lot of, I won't say chaos, but yes, something similar. And amidst that, thinking of something which is so relevant is really commendable. So
Thank
great
you.
job on that.
Thank you.
Uh, so yeah, I think I was about to ask you how would you describe your evolution, but you beautifully did that. That how it happened, what was there, how you evolved out of it. So moving ahead, I want to know a little bit about your internal rewiring that you did, because very rightly said, mental health is still not being so much taken. It's still taken for granted as of now.
Yeah,
But the way people think is what needs change, whether it is through, you know, I wouldn't say it doesn't happen through what things you watch or what quotes you read. It happens when you internally talk to yourself. And what you're
correct.
doing is exactly for that. Because when you're writing, you are just with yourself. You
Correct.
don't have
Yeah,
any other distraction.
correct.
So, what was some of the subconscious beliefs or patterns that you had to unlearn when you started this journey?
So it is like, see, I used to journal, not as in journal since childhood. It is like your
Mhm.
dear diary thing, where I
Right, right,
always used to write, like, this is what my day looks like.
right.
So I didn't realize that writing was so important until, like, again, as I said earlier, there are a lot of transformation we go through, and motherhood was one such transformation for me.
Mm-hmm.
To say, I've always been like a very chilled person. I don't take things very seriously. I'm like, more of like, chilled. Okay, chalo, slowly do stuff, because I was again born and brought up in Mysore. It's like the slowest and
Yes,
calmest
very
thing that we
calm.
have done. So it was like that. But then with COVID and, with a lot of things, as it is for a new mom, it is very difficult to, adjust to the new situation and stuff. And especially when you know
Right.
that COVID has hit, and every minute and every move, anyone who comes into your house has to be scanned. That is even more so, very traumatic. It's like you can't live your life in freedom. You have to keep
Absolutely.
on thinking about 100 things. You have a newborn to take care of.
Right.
So during that time, it is like, you're in your most vulnerable state. There are people around you, they are supporting you, but then still you feel that loneliness where you can't express everything. So
Yes.
that is where I seriously took to journaling, because somewhere I realized that yes, I am very calm, but somewhere down the line I was losing my self regulation. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I knew, I used to get angry, but then it was like I was accepting it that yes, I was getting angry, but then I wasn't able to figure out, like, why it was happening and what was the reason, kind of.
Right.
So writing did help that time. So maybe pulling a book out and writing was very difficult with a child. So what I used to do at that time was I used to use my phone to journal, like just one
Mm-hmm.
or two sentences and one or two thoughts. So that is when I realized that it was a pattern which I recognized, where I realized that if I read a book for, say, even 5 minutes in a day, that
Mm-hmm.
gave me a lot of calmness. And the day I read book for 5 minutes, I was able to go through my day naturally without any difficulty. But
Right.
on days when I knew I was not able to read the book, were days which used to be really chaotic for me, where
Mm-hmm.
I would lose my control over myself, kind of. So
Okay.
that was one pattern where I realized that reading was really important for me. So
Mm.
I used to read a lot before as well. So for me, it is like something which is like, me time. So
Right.
I love reading. So it was like something which I wanted to do. And with the lot of things happening around, it was getting really difficult to, get myself to sit for 5 minutes, read and stuff.
Right.
So I recognize that pattern that yes, reading does. So that is where I realized that self care is very important. So
Mm.
we women take self care for granted. We are there for everyone, but we don't take care of ourselves. So it can be a small thing, as you know. So we work from home. But what we
Mm.
realized is when you work from home, also if you sit in your night pajamas, you're mostly not able to finish as much work as you could if you were,
Agree.
better dressed or with a little bit of makeup
Right.
or stuff. So
Right.
it was like I had to just convince myself that yes, self
Mhm.
care is very important.
Right.
It's okay, you have a child to take care of, yes, you are
Mm.
a new mom, but at the same time spending that 5 minutes for yourself is not going to make a huge difference. And don't
Correct.
feel guilty about it because you're doing it for your child, because you're regulating yourself by doing it. So
Absolutely.
it was not something which happened overnight. It was like a thing which I had to keep on telling myself, and maybe after telling myself over months together, it is something which registered and like, okay, it's okay to take a break, it's not a crime, kind of.
Right, right. Yes, I agree that it takes a lot of effort to convince ourselves that even that 5 minutes is very important.
Yeah.
And yes, very true that, the way I think look good, feel good is something which is very important. If we
Yeah.
are working from home, because I also work from home. So the days where I'm just, sitting like that, I'll have so many things on my to-do, but I'll not be able to complete it. But when you refresh yourself mentally, physically, that is the time you can achieve a lot. So that's again a great realization. Uh, there's one thing that, like you said, when we start putting things on paper or like in writing, a lot changes. But was there any particular journaling prompt or exercise that you followed when you started this practice?
Not really. So it generally started with, just me writing my day. It was
Okay.
like just start and say what I felt during the entire day. Like what
Mm-hmm.
were those feelings, kind of. Then slowly, slowly to just, improvise a little bit. It used to be like, how do you feel today?
Mm-hmm.
It is like, because it's monotonous, you're a new mom, you're taking care of a kid full day who's
Right.
totally dependent on you, so you don't know what else to do, you're just stuck at home, especially during COVID. You can't
Yes.
even take the child outside. So it is
Yes.
like a monotonous day where nothing is happening. You just write about your day, and then I used to, like, a week or 10 days later, try to find what was that one interesting thing I did that day which made me feel little better when
Okay.
you're having a bad day, kind of. So that sort of helped me pick out what wasn't working for me and what was.
Right. Right. Wonderful, wonderful. So, like today, I think like you've started a brand which is totally focused on mental wellness. So, other than journaling, what are the other practices which help you in, staying mentally and emotionally aligned or calm?
As I mentioned, reading. So for me, my day starts really early because I have a little one who's in upper KG. So, school runs are there every day. So for
Right.
me, before the worldly chaos begins, I want that, half an hour at least for myself. So I
Mm.
wake up at 4:45 and ensure I have a steaming cup of filter coffee with a book. So that is
Mm.
how and that is a non-negotiable thing for me. So
Okay.
if I don't do that, I know my entire day is going to go for a toss because I'm not regulated. So I'd rather, sleep earlier in the night, wake up fresh, have my coffee, read my book, and then it is one non-negotiable thing which I follow. There are days when, yes, with a lot of work and with, a lot of things happening, I'm not able to get up and I don't do it. But still it's manageable, 1 or 2 days I can still go without it, but that is something
Right.
which I follow religiously.
That's wonderful because having a ritual is always, like, obviously there are few days when you would have a miss, but then otherwise it acts like an anchor that you did that and you, like you said, that you know that you've done it, so your day would go fine.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe it's also psychological that I have read, so I'm feeling, but it somehow gets me to that calm self when I read, so I follow it.
Right. Yeah. And like, see, whether it is, it may not be the aroma of coffee, it may be that realization that,
Correct.
it's like, you tick that goal key, okay, I have to start my
Yeah,
day this way and I've done it.
correct.
So, it's a very good way to actually feel that sense of achievement right in the beginning of the day. Because
Yeah,
obviously, when we achieve something, we feel good. And when we feel good, we do good. So,
correct. True.
so that's a wonderful practice actually. Yeah, coming to my next question. We have plans, we do things like, every day we plan a little bit in the future or for the future as well. But there are times when we have self-doubt. So when you face self-doubt, what does your inner voice sound like?
So it is like any other person, like it's always like we started Orange Espresso in 2024. It was we decided in July 2024, but when we actually kickstarted it, it was November. So it was
Okay.
like we definitely started, but then 1 2 months you're new, so you have your relatives supporting you, you have
Yeah.
family, friends, and all coming forward supporting you. Yes, when after everyone has supported you and you're still waiting for those strangers to come in, that is where you're waiting. Yes, it's going to happen at some point, but
Yes.
you're not sure when. So when you don't know the exact timeline and you're waiting is when you start overthinking and your brain starts telling you that,
Right.
see, nothing is happening. Are you sure you want to continue? Do you
Yes.
think you have the capability? You don't have the profession. Like, you are making books and stuff with designs, but there are a lot of other designers who are making it out there. So why do you think others will pick the book which you have made?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things which keep on repeating, saying you're not the first person to introduce something like a wellness thing. Like, there are a lot of brands which have introduced wellness.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what is it that makes you unique? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, then my other voice tells me that yes, you have your own design. So you have your own thinking pattern based on which you have created some productivity tools like a task organizer, for example, or a wellness tracker. This is all
Mm-hmm.
purely your own idea. So why are you putting
Right.
yourself down? But again, the self doubt parts always comes up with full confidence, saying that no, you have done it. Yes, one or two people might be picking it up, but what is so great in it? You get it on Amazon for a much lesser price. So why would you think someone would come and pick it up? Like, how long? Okay, 1 2 years you might last, but beyond that, then what? Like, can you go on with this forever? Like, is it
Mm-hmm.
like, do you think it's going to work out to make you run the house, kind of? Because both my husband and I are doing this together, so we don't have
Right.
any backup. We've put all our life savings and we are doing it. So it is like, that keeps coming often, trying to tell us that, are you still going to
Yes.
continue, or do you want to
Right.
give up, kind of?
Right. So I think it's like ups and downs coming, like the reinforcement also comes, but the doubts also come.
Definitely,
But
yeah.
but I think because the kind of work you're doing, the kind of creativity, or I would say sense of expression that you said you have, I think people who use pen and paper, like who are writing or who are sketching, drawing, they have a very natural ability to calm themselves amidst the chaos that happens. So
True.
that acts like a strength.
Yeah, very
Um,
true.
Wonderful. So between all of this, between both of the doubts and the encouraging thoughts, if you had to name your current mindset in like 3 words, what would your mindset be?
So my mindset would be the tagline of a brand. Pause, reflect, and reset.
Uh,
So we work on this. So it was something which my husband and I discussed, and we put it like, so when you're about to start writing or you're going to do something, you're starting because you want to improve. You want to grow further. So, how do you grow? Only when you pause and think, you will understand what's actually going on. What are the conflicts? And then once you understand your conflicts, you can reflect upon it and see, that what else can you do? What else can you do better? Or is there something which you can incorporate in your daily life which could actually help you grow?
mm,
And when you've already seen what is wrong and you know your own conflicts, triggers, or whatever it is, that is when, when you're ready to accept it and move ahead, is when you will reset your life.
yes. Wonderful, wonderful. I really love your tagline and the 3 words you use for the mindset. It's actually something that encompasses everything. because pause is what I think it's very much required. Whether
Yeah,
it be for any, I'm not just talking about women, but any gender, any age,
anyone.
you
Yeah,
really need that pause. Most of the times, like we also keep saying that, don't react, you need to respond. And for responding, you need to pause.
correct, correct.
So my next set of questions is a little quick mix. Not rapid fire, but like short answers, one word, one
Okay,
sentence.
okay.
Okay, so I think I already know the answer for the first one, but just let's repeat that. What is your go-to comfort ritual?
Reading.
Okay. One moment in the day you truly feel like yourself.
The early morning time when I'm with myself.
Great, great. A small habit that has made a big difference in your life.
Journaling, definitely.
Great. Something you consciously say no to now.
As a mom, for me, anything that is going to take my time away from my son, I think about it like, is it worth it? Because there are times when I have to go for certain meetings outside. So I
Right.
definitely, we live in a nuclear setup, so it is mostly my when I go, my husband is taking care of him, and vice versa. So it
Right.
is like I wouldn't trade that time for anything, because kids grow up really fast. So it is like spend as
Absolutely.
much time as you can with them now.
Absolutely. So just like sharing, my son is of the same age. He's turning 6 the next month. So
Okay,
it's like whatever you said about like, motherhood and everything, the COVID time, he was also born
correct.
during the COVID time. So I can
Okay,
truly relate to this. Saying no is what I have also learned
I know.
this way. So, okay, one thought pattern that you've completely let go of.
It is like, see, there is self doubt definitely. But as I said earlier, I used to be a through and through people pleaser before. Where, for
Mm-hmm.
me, it was like, if I tell no, then it will become a disaster because they will think I'm bad and whatnot. So
Right.
I've let go of it. I wouldn't say I've let go of it 100%, but definitely 95 to 96%. I'm very firm when it comes to certain things now.
Wonderful. That's a very empowering thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, a sentence you'd journal today without overthinking.
I would say that I am enough the way I am. I just have to go ahead and do what I'm meant to do.
Great, great. Talking generally about people, why do you think so many people struggle to understand their own thoughts and emotions?
One thing is because you're conditioned in that way. You have a
Mhm.
lot of societal pressure. So it
Mhm.
is like you're conditioned. You have to be this way. You have to do this much. Like
Mhm.
once you finish your studies, then it's your career. After career, it's marriage. It's like your life is chalked out fully. So
Mhm.
anywhere you want to move out of it, it is like you feel that if I decide to do something other than this, then people are going to start judging me. So
Mhm.
it is like that societal pressure along with the judgments which you're going to receive, which obviously everyone would fear, because you finally live in a society where you can't say that, okay, I'm going to ignore. It's not possible.
Not
Any one small statement which hurts you comes out from someone, it's going to keep you knocked off for days. So
correct.
it is like that is one of the main reasons why people don't want to go ahead and think deeply and try to understand what's wrong. Like, should they try something else, kind of.
Correct. So, now for someone who is feeling that overwhelm, who's overwhelmed with their own mental thoughts, how do you think journaling can become a safe starting point?
So, see, first thing is, when you're overwhelmed, why are you overwhelmed? Because there are a lot of things happening and you don't have an outlet. Like, you
Mhm.
feel that, someone, if you tell something to someone, you feel you want to share it with someone, because you know that
Mhm.
once you share, it's going to reduce. But
Right.
who do you share it with? Like, is there
Mhm.
someone you can do it? No. So the first fear is you fear the fear of judgment, where you
Mhm.
fear that what is that person going to think? Is he going to think? Is she going to think that why is she so silly or whatever? So that is the first thing that prevents you from taking the first step. And
Right.
what happens is then you're in that spiral where you don't know whether you want to share or not, and then
Mm.
you're not able to. So one good thing about writing down your thoughts is it's just your book, your pen, yourself. You're going to write your thoughts, and once you start writing, so yes, it is difficult to start because you don't know how to start. But
Mm.
once you start, then there is nothing you can fear about, because there is absolutely no judgment. You're just putting down what is in your head on paper. And
Mhm.
once you get used to it, it is like, that it is very calming and comforting, because
Right.
no one is going to tell you anything. You're just
Right.
letting out whatever is there in your head unfiltered.
Right.
So it's an absolute outlet where you can just read it few days later when you're in a better place and try and understand what was wrong, and you can reset yourself.
Mhm. So coming to that, like if you could share just couple of journaling prompts that people can use to begin with, because there are many who are very distant from pen and paper. Like writing has become very kind
Correct,
of
true.
obsolete. So
Correct.
anything which they can, just a mental prompt which they can use to start.
Definitely. So, a small thing which we have started as a ritual with our 6-year-old is just before we go to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
my husband, me, and my son, we just answer 3 questions in a day. What made you sad today? What made you happy today? And what are you grateful for today? Those are the 3 questions which we randomly came across somewhere, and we are like, let's just start doing it ourselves at home. So it's
Right.
been, I think, almost 8 to 9 months since we started doing that, and we have seen over time that it is very simple. What made you sad today? And when you
Right.
sit and think about it, you do realize that yes, okay, this is something which made me sad. Like, you don't have to write; you can just think about it, answer
Mm-hmm.
it loud, and then
Right.
what we have seen is uh, our son now looks for things in a day. Like, when he starts his day and when he's
Mm-hmm.
going through his day, he knows. He's like, when the question time happens, I'm going to use this as my happy point for
Right.
the day. So
Right.
it is like you inculcate that habit where you're training your mind to find something good that is happening in the day to be grateful for at the end of the day. You're looking
Right.
for what made you happy, and you're also taking note of what made you sad, so that you
Mhm.
can take into account all of those and make your next day better.
Right. Right. Yes, absolutely. Because obviously we don't have all happy times, not all sad times. So I
Correct.
think
Yeah.
this is a very powerful ritual to actually keep things concise and know the balance in life.
Correct.
Great,
True.
great. Thank
True.
you so much for sharing this.
Well,
Uh, So coming to the next one, there are many times there are people, including myself, like we start journaling, but we lack the consistency, or after a certain point of time, it just the habit or the ritual breaks. So what helps in building that consistency so that we can continue?
so the first thing is the mistake we make. I have also made this. I keep on making it now also. Like, no matter how much I do, the first thing is we just set unreachable goals. Like, I have to write this much. Like, I have to fill one page. I have to
Mm-hmm.
fill, say, even if it is 5, 6 lines. On certain days, it's not possible because
Correct.
you're exhausted. You either want to sleep early or you have somewhere to go. So at those times, you're not able to write. So what happens is you leave that day. Then next day, what happens? It's like, okay, the previous day you have not done, so that motivation lags behind. So
Drop.
you're not able to pull out your book. So that one day converts into multiple days. And
Right.
when you then open your book, it is like, oh, this was like decades ago that I wrote. So
Right.
getting back to it is not possible. So let me just leave it. So two things I follow is I keep it very short, like
Mm-hmm.
just 5 minutes or 1 or 2 sentences per day. It's not like, yeah, there are days when I want to write a lot, and that is when I sit and write also. But
Mm-hmm.
on other days when I know that I'm not going to be able to write a page, I stick to just writing one sentence every day, just one sentence, and
Mm-hmm.
keep the journal in such a place, like I keep it near my bedside table, so I know that before I go to sleep I pick it up, I just fill it up and go to sleep. So keep it very handy, so that
Mm-hmm.
your eyes are on it, you know that yes, I have to do this, like
I
no
have to
matter
do
what, 5 minutes before sleeping I will do it. So that is what will push you to do it.
Right. Wonderful, wonderful. I think this is really helpful. This will help us continue because yes, giving a minute is not something which is not possible. It's just a mental block.
Correct.
And
Yeah. So
like you
see,
rightly,
15, 20 minutes definitely becomes difficult on certain days.
yes,
But
yes,
5 minutes is not going to be. Like we scroll
correct.
the phone for more than an hour in a day.
Yes,
So
yes,
taking out five
absolutely.
minutes for writing should not be difficult.
Correct, correct. So I'll also start doing this.
Definitely.
So, okay, so moving ahead, talking specifically about women here, we are often conditioned to respond more than reflect. Like we began the session talking about a little bit about this. So,
Correct.
what would you say to a woman who wants to reconnect with her inner voice or inner calling?
So that's what, conditioning from childhood that, we are supposed to be like this. That is what pushes it. So what I would say is everyone has their own inner voice. So we have to listen to it because,
Right,
lot of the solutions to our problems come from it.
right,
When we actually deeply sit to write or we try to answer certain questions, we realize what is actually the issue. Like, is
right.
it real or is it in our mind? So lot of things also comes from just overthinking because
Mm-hmm.
we want to be the superwoman, we want to do it all, we want to
Right,
get the title, so we are basically juggling from one thing to the other because of that. So
right.
if we calmly sit and think, if you listen to your voice also, you realize in a day that you don't have to do it all. You can let go of few things. And why is it that it affects us? Because we are not ready to let go of certain things.
Mm-hmm.
We want to,
Correct,
because we are conditioned. It's like, no,
right,
you only have to do it. It is
right.
your job, it is your responsibility. So we get stuck onto that.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are encouraged to, take that 5 minutes every day to just sit and listen to your voice, you will start
Correct.
reflecting upon what exactly is going right, what is not going right. So yes, for me it is like, I for a fact know that post 8 p.m. in the night I can get really cranky.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can just, I tell my husband and my son that after 8 o'clock, don't irritate me. Like, don't come behind me telling me anything.
Right,
What I realized is like I can just go on till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock as it is. But what I've realized is because I start my day early and I have a lot of things happening in the entire day, my body is exhausted by the time it is 7:30. Now
right.
I have to pause and just, listen to my body that,
Mm-hmm.
okay, after 8 o'clock it's difficult to function because you've had a long day and you have to at some point call it quits for the day. But if I don't want to listen to my inner voice and just go on, I also know that yes, I will go on till 10 o'clock, but my mindset will not be happy. Like
Right.
my cup is fully empty from the day.
Mm-hmm.
So there is nothing in it to offer to anyone.
Brilliant.
So
Right.
I can push myself to do it for 2 hours based on whatever the society wants me to do. But then I could tell something very hurtful, could get into a fight with my kid or my husband or parents for
Right.
that matter. And that is not something pleasant which we want to do on a daily basis. So
Correct.
when you sit and listen to yourself, your mind, your body, you understand that certain things are not happening because of a particular reason. So
Right.
what I have started doing is I know that I cannot stay awake beyond 8, 8:30. So I finish an early dinner and
Mm-hmm.
go to sleep by 8:30, 8:45. So that is when, I avoid all the conflicts that could otherwise arise
Right.
and get into the next day more peacefully, kind of.
Right. Wonderful, wonderful. So that's actually that sums up the importance of why listening to the inner voice is very, very important.
Correct, correct.
And yes, I agree. I think acceptance is also where we need to work, that we accept this is what it is, and we have to design a life around that acceptance.
Correct. True. Because as long as you accept it, there is no scope for improvement. Because
Right.
when you don't accept, you still feel that, okay, I'm right. But
Mhm.
when you accept, you know that, okay, this is what you're lagging in. You can then
Yes.
change little bit here and there. You don't have to change your nature, but little bit of your lifestyle or anything that works around it, you can change to make it better.
Right, right. And like you rightly said, we need to accept that we are not superhumans. We
Yes,
are normal human
definitely.
beings.
We
So,
definitely have that problem.
yes,
We want to do it all.
absolutely, absolutely. Great. So, Vaishnavi, coming to the book that you're launching a journaling prompts book to help people begin their practice, and also you are also working on a self-help book.
Correct.
So, give us a little bit about knowledge about what they are and what intention do you have behind publishing these books?
Okay, so we published our flagship product for the year 2026 was our planner. So the planner was not like a normal planner where you have dates and you fill it. So what we
Mhm.
started off with was some self reflection of the previous year that happened, and we had guided journal prompts, 12
Okay.
guided journal prompts where you just had to sit and answer that before you began your 2026. So it
Okay.
was like, what for something as simple as what drains your energy
Mhm.
every day. So if
Right.
you sit and think about it, you do realize that yes, there is a pattern. There is something which drains your energy every day, and you pick out that particular thing and you work on it in the next coming year. Otherwise, there's no point in writing, right? Because you
Absolutely.
can keep on writing diaries together, you can finish journals together, but
Mhm.
if you're not going to work on yourself, it's not going to help. So we did a couple of pop-ups here in Pune, and what we realized is people loved the way the planner was designed. And
Okay.
what actually hit us that time was everyone wants to get into the habit of writing, but the problem again lies with where to start.
Right
Like,
to start.
people are very scared to start writing. Like, if you're not used to writing, then you don't
Mhm.
know where to start, and
Yes.
you're like, what do I write? Do I
Mhm.
my day is not, so people worry about, like, my day is not happening. It's just
Yeah.
that I get up, go to office, come back home and sleep, and there's nothing interesting happening. So what do I write? I don't have any foreign travels. I don't have any happening things in my life. So what do I write about? It doesn't have to be. So it is
Right.
like your daily thoughts. If you
Mhm.
actually sit with the book and write, you get it. But for people who are not into it, it's very
Mhm.
difficult to get
It's
into
very
that.
difficult.
So
Yes.
that is something which pushed us towards making a prompts book where people who are genuinely interested in journaling but who don't know can actually pick up that book to just get some guided journaling practices where we have, it's a 120 page book. We are going to launch it very soon. So
Mhm.
it is going to have prompts for you for it for each day, where
Mhm.
you begin from day 1 and you end at day 120. And
Okay.
it is like there are days when you will not feel like writing anything, so for
Right.
those days we have kept empty doodle pages where we've given
Mhm.
doodles. You just have to sit and color, because coloring is also a very pure form of therapy where you
Yes.
lose yourself completely, even if it is for 5 minutes. So
Right.
that book is something which is going to handhold people to start journaling as a habit. So once you finish that, you will get a complete, like, once you write, until you write you don't know what you have lost, right? So
Correct.
once you start writing, you realize that it is definitely wings for you, definitely your wings to fly, because that is something which gives you that freedom. Because
Yes.
otherwise you're stuck in your own thoughts, you don't know how to get out of that, you're in that own dilemma every day.
Right.
Like, this gives you the freedom to think outside.
Wonderful. Yeah, I agree. It gives like we say, even in physical spaces, we need decluttering, frequent
Correct.
decluttering. So I think
Correct,
writing
definitely.
gives that decluttering of mind where we have
That's correct.
thousands and hundreds of thoughts, and we structure it out. When we write down, we remove what is
Definitely.
not required, the cleaning
Yeah.
habits.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
right, right. And the other book that you're writing on, that's a kind of self-help book.
Yeah. So it is a self-help book. It's a non-fiction where I have written about journaling. Like, from the beginning, for a beginner who doesn't have any idea about journaling, it is about trying to understand what journaling is, what are its benefits. Like,
Right.
if you inculcate the habit of journaling in your life, how could it improve you? Like,
Mm.
some people have doubts, they want to start, but they don't know what is that you'll get, what is it
Yes,
that you'll achieve.
yes.
You'll write, yes, but what will you achieve at the end of the day? So it is like it gives you, so it's a step by step thing which tells you like how it improves your life, like what mode to choose, because people get confused whether we use digital mode or analog, what to use. So
Right.
it is like a guided journaling self-help book where you get to understand what journaling is, how to start off, what mode to use, which is more suitable for you, what type of journaling, and so on.
Wonderful. I think it's a great combination because it's not just few people, it's a very large segment, I would say, where they don't know how to free themselves. They want to, but they don't know. And I think
Correct,
the ones who have not written or who are not in the habit of writing, they first need to understand what it is, why it will help, and then
correct,
they can
yeah.
use the journaling prompts book that you are going to publish. So it's a very very effective combination, I would say, that you have created with both the books.
Thank
I would
you.
love to have them for myself too, because
Definitely,
uh,
definitely.
it's not just the ones who are not writing. I think because I have been someone who's been into writing since childhood. Like you said about sketching, that you had a habit of doing it. I had a habit of writing since very early age, and I used to write poems. Like, I
Oh,
loved the rhyming thing. So because of that, I used to write it in a poetic form. But
okay.
there also comes a phase in life, especially when, we are maybe adulting, I can say, where so many things happen, that there's a block that is created, that creative
Correct.
block is there. And now if
Correct.
I think, I have to think that I want to write. And earlier it
Correct.
used to be that, whatever is happening, I'll just sit down and I'll write.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
for people like me also I think there are many who face this block of phase, I would say. And the books or the inputs, that the things that you're doing, these would really help us to come back to that phase where we can express ourselves through writing. So wonderful, wonderful work you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So again, moving ahead, the next question that I have is, what is that one myth about self-awareness or healing, self-healing, that you would like to break today?
So, people generally have this misconception that self awareness is healing, and
Hmm.
or self awareness and healing are the same,
Right.
but it is not so. So,
Hmm.
self awareness is the stage where you understand that yes, certain things are not right, and
Right.
you have to get yourself to understand that yes, this is what is wrong, and I need to take action on this.
Hmm.
And just knowing is definitely not going to heal you, because
Absolutely.
you're not doing anything about it. It's like you are where you are, you're not improving anything in your
Correct.
life, you're just aware that yes, this is wrong, but what have
Hmm.
you done about it? So when you work towards whatever you feel is not right, and try to progress in that and get yourself out of it, that is healing.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely. Right. So, again, amidst everything that is happening, you are doing so much of work. You're working on mental wellness. You're dealing, we definitely have a life to take care of where so many things happen. So, how do you protect your mental space in a world which is so demanding on all fronts?
So I ensure that once in a while, whenever, so it nowadays it doesn't happen quite often, because of the kind of things that is happening, work and then house, and we
Right.
always have this thing,
Correct.
we are running from one thing to the other. So despite that, what I ensure I do is once in 15 days or 20 days, I just go by myself to a mall,
Okay.
just to, I mean, nothing to shop, just to walk around, just
Right.
pick up a book from crossword, pick up a cup of coffee, just sit, like read,
Right.
don't read, doesn't matter, just a book in hand, and just sit there for some time, all by yourself. Sometimes just sitting like that, makes you release a lot of your emotions, and
Right.
it gives an outlet for you to get your feelings out. You think about life more deeply and try to understand what is that one thing that you're doing correctly and what is not. So that is
Mm.
one thing I follow.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's the pause that is required.
Yeah.
Right. So, again, to little bit sum it up all, with your background where you started, you were studying, you were doing a lot of work on your, obviously clearing the exam, that background, and your current path, how has the definition of success evolved for you?
So it has. So if I would say, when I was studying, for me, success always meant, getting the highest number of marks, and, passing, CA, and, getting a
Right.
degree and whatnot. But now for me, after having been through so much in life, and, understanding life much better, and, having matured to have reached this age, what I've realized is success finally doesn't come with your mark sheet or anything as such. Success is, are you happy internally? So you could be happy from outside with your marks, with your status, with your level or whatever it is. But then if you're internally not happy, you're not successful.
Right.
So that is for me one of the most important lessons that I have learned. That success doesn't come
Great,
from anything external, it is only internal.
great, great. So, can we say that you feel more aligned with your inner self today?
Yes, definitely.
Great. So we had a wonderful conversation with you, Vaishnavi. Just to close with the signature Shrishti question that we have. So because Shrishti is mainly focused on women, why? Because I want women to come out with their stories. Most of the times, whether in general, I would not say that most of the times or all of the time that happens, but recognition and acknowledgement happens for men in the society where they are succeeding, where they are, their career paths are a certain way. But a lot of the times women have a lot of stories which can really inspire us, like yours does.
Thank you
uh,
so much.
so this podcast is focused on women, but yes, the takeaways are for everyone. So if I see your journey, it's a story of resilience, it's a story of taking up challenges and creating a beautiful space of creativity, of journaling. So everyone who has gone through this journey, who is listening to us, what would you want the world to remember? And if your journey, because it's more of creation, the way you created your today's version from what you were, what is the version that you feel we can consciously create, or you created consciously, and what would you want the world to remember about it?
So I would just tell one thing: if I can do it, so can you. So don't prevent yourself from doing anything, because we are capable of doing a lot of things. We just don't go forward because of all the inner fears that we have. But once we get rid of all of them one by one, we do realize that it is not difficult. There are a lot of people out there who need help. There are a lot of people who've gone through the same things in life, like you. And when like-minded people meet, it is like you do understand each other. You get to learn a lot of things and go ahead. So I would say that if I can do it, yes, so can you. So everyone should.
Great. Thank you so much. That's a very powerful thing, very powerful motivator for everyone. And once again, thank you. I'm really grateful to you to come and share with us all the inputs that you've done, your journey, the kind of work that you're doing. So great, great work you're doing. And I wish you all the best with the books that are upcoming and all everything that you
Thank you.
plan to do ahead.
Thank you so much, Nivedita. And I'm really very happy the way you are also doing this, because it really means a lot that you are working towards the empowerment of women this way. And all the best to
Thank
you
you.
too. And thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you.